Welcome to online classes. I am Mahadev Bada, biology lecturer from Mount UPU College, Umagaon Cross. On the other classes, we have studied the meaning of ecology and also the meaning of the chapter called the organisms and population. What are organisms? A group of specific individual. And also we have studied the population, group of individuals living in a particular area, population. And also the term who has coined the ecology also we have studied. Also, we discussed about the distribution of the living organisms on the earth. Today, we are going to study some of the abiotic factors that are responsible for the life to exist on the earth. There are living organisms, as I told you, the living organisms are interacting with the abiotic factors, non-living factors. So abiotic factors are nothing but the non-living factors. The living organisms depends upon the abiotic factors. Without them, they cannot survive. All living organisms depends upon the abiotic factors. So today let us see some of the abiotic factors. In your lesson, mainly you are going to study 4 abiotic factors which influences the life on the earth. One of the abiotic factor is temperature, water, light, and soil. These are the 4 abiotic factors which will influences the life. And the first abiotic factor which is responsible for the life to exist is the temperature. Most ecological relevant environmental factor depends upon the temperature. Temperature on land varies seasonally because of the rotation of the earth around the sun and the rotation of the earth by itself. Slight tilting of the earth makes the seasonal variation. It also leads to day and night that happens. So, because of all these reasons, there is not a constant temperature on the earth. The constant temperature cannot be seen on the earth. There is a lot of variation in the temperature on the earth. When I take the polar areas, high altitudes, the temperature goes to -degree. When I take to hot deserts, the temperature goes to more than 50-60 degrees Celsius. But even then, the organisms have got adjusted to that. Average temperature in the thermal spring and deep seas even exceeds 100 degrees Celsius also. Therefore, as there is a change in the temperature, the organisms also distributed in a different manner. Some of the organisms have got adjusted to the temperature, but some of the organisms will find out the suitable temperature for. For example, if you take mango as an example, we cannot find mango trees all over the world. Particular places, particular countries, we can see where the favorable temperature is there for the growth of the mango tree. Therefore, mango trees can be seen in our country. It cannot be seen in Canada and Germany. Snow leopards can be seen in Kerala forest, but they cannot be seen in some other places because of the temperature. So like that, the temperature influences the life on the earth. Take for example, as there is a variation in the temperature, the man will get adjusted to that. There is a seasonal variation in the temperature. It will affect the physiological activities of the human being also. Kinetic enzyme activities also influences because of the temperature. For example, when you take the rainy season, winter season, summer season, spring season. In a rainy season, I use umbrella, I use raincoat. During the winter season, I use sweater. During the summer season, I use white cotton cloth. I use white cotton cloth to escape from the hot climatical condition, and also I sweat a lot so that my body can kept in a cold condition. During the winter season, I shiver a lot. To escape from that cold, I wear the sweater. So all these reasons are there. That's how metabolic activities, physiological functions are affected because of there is a variation in the temperature. So depending upon the tolerance of the temperature, the organisms are being classified into two types. One type of organism that we find is the eurythermal organism, which can tolerate wide range of temperature. Another type of organisms are stenothermal organisms. They can tolerate only the narrow range of temperature. So that's how the temperature influences the life on the earth. And now let us move on to the second abiotic factor, which is very much essential, that if influences the life on the earth is the water. As you all know, the human being cannot survive without the water. Second most important factor that is influencing the organism is the water. Life on earth has been originated inside the water. According to the chemical theory of evolution, as we are going to study in the lesson called evolution, they say that the life has been originated inside the water. So water is one of the responsible factor for the existence of the life, origin of the life. So it has been placed one of the most important factors. Desert organisms have special adaptation to limited water, as desert places. A lot of temperature is there. Rain does not come over there. Therefore, whenever there is a rain, these plants will absorb the water, keep it in them. Therefore, we will not find many of the organisms which are living in the desert. Only some of the organisms that we find in the desert places like camel, sheep of the desert, like cactus, and so on, rat, so on. How do the camel has been adapted to the desert place? How do the cactus adapted to that place? The cactus is one of the plant where the leaves are modified into thorns. Because of that, there is almost null. There is no loss of water in the plant. Transpiration does not take, guttation does not take place. Therefore, there is no loss of the water because leaves are not there. So, if leaves are there, stomatas are present. Opening and closing of the stomatas, there is a process called transpiration takes place. There is a process called guttation takes place. But cactus does not have leaves. Therefore, these plant, whatever the water is being absorbed during the rainy time, is kept in them and used for longer period of time. And when I take the stem of the cactus is green in color. When we observe other plants, they may be different colors, but cactus plant, the stem is green in color because the stem is having the chlorophyll pigment, which is responsible for the preparation of the food. As the cactus does not have leaves, therefore the stem prepares the food for it. This is how the cactus is being adapted to desert place. And also when we take the camel as an example, discuss detail about the camel in the next chapters. But the camel is having hump, which stores the fat. The camel is having long foot, broader foot, long legs, small tail, small eyes. These are hard skin. These are different adaptations that the camel has undergone. Therefore, it can survive in the desert place. Like that, if we take the aquatic organism, because of the chemical composition and the pH that they have, they can also survive in such places. Based on the tolerance of the salinity, that means the salt content, In the water, the organisms are classified into two types. One is called the euryhaline organism. These are the type of organisms which can tolerate wide range of salinity. And there are another type of organisms called the stenohaline organisms. These are the type of organisms which can tolerate only a narrow range of salinity. Many freshwater animals cannot survive over this salty water. Many salty water animals cannot survive over the freshwater because of the chemical compositions that they have. Therefore, water is one of the factors that influences the life on the earth. And the third factor that influences the life on the earth is the light. Plants do need the light for the photosynthesis, which is very much necessary for the plant to prepare the food. Therefore, light is again one of the essential factor that is needed for the living organisms. Small forest plants called the herbs and shrubs are being adapted to photosynthesize optimally under very low temperature or the very low light, and they are overshadowed by tall trees. Many plants depend on the sunlight called the photoperiodism. Photoperiod, all the flowering plants they take photoperiodism. Photo means light, periodism means having the affinity. So these are the type of plants which have the affinity to grow towards the light. Almost all flowering plants are photoperiodism. So the light is influencing on the plants. Then how do the light influences on the animals? The animals you are diurnal. Many of the animals are diurnal. Seasonal variation in the light intensity and photoperiod for timing their foraging, reproductive, migratory activities. So some of the animals are very active during the daytime, that is in presence of the light. Very few animals are what we say them as nocturnal animals, which are active in the night time. Take example of cockroach, take example of owl, take example of bat. So these are the some examples where they are nocturnal, which are active during the night. But leaving those, apart from those, there are many animals. Most of the animals are diurnal. Therefore, almost all animals need light. Light is one of the factor that influences the living organism. Sun is the ultimate source of light and temperature on land. The plants are able to capture the sunlight and transfer that sunlight into food by absorbing the water minerals from the roots. And with the help of the chlorophyll pigment, they are capable of synthesizing the food. Therefore, I am surviving. All the animals are surviving because we are obtaining the food from the plants. One or the other way, directly or indirectly, we are getting it. So, how do the plants survive in deep oceans, dark sunlight? In some of the places, even sunlight do not reach over there. So there also they have been undergone the adaptation. The respective solar radiation is also important to life because UV rays are coming, harmful rays are destroying the plant's leaves, stomatas, they will kill off. Even the ultraviolet rays which are coming from the sun will lead to the skin cancer. There are so many diseases which will come. Therefore, just moderate temperature, moderate light is to be maintained. Therefore, there is a ozone layer which protects us. Another and the fourth important factor which is responsible for the life they exist is the soil. As you know, the nature and properties of soil varies. At some of the places, the water holding capacity of the soil is more. At some places, the water holding capacity of the soil is very less. Therefore, depends upon this water holding capacity, the vegetation distribution of the plants also varies. So The characters, the soil pH, mineral composition also determines the distribution of the vegetation. In aquatic animals, which determines the type of benthic animals which are living over there. Soil helps for the survival of the living organism. If there is any fluctuation among these abiotic factors, temperature, light, soil, water, if there is any change in them, the living organisms respond accordingly. Therefore, the heading is responses to the abiotic factor. You can see responses to the abiotic factor. What are the responses that can be seen in the living organism? That will be seen in the next class. So you will see that in the next class.